welcome to episode 3 of The Last of Us series, season 2 on HBO. And we are still doing episode by episode because I'm very curious, how does the show fare after the big episode 2, where Pedro, Pascal, and Joel is no longer alive, killed, and now the show will have to be carried by Abby and Ellie, Bella Ramsey, and
Kath.
Devers. I never learned her name. So, can they do it? Well, episode 3, I would say, gives a lot more time to sort of mourn Joel, at least initially. Gives us a 3-month time jump. Gives us a little bit more on some of the characters and their state of minds after that happened. But it's not necessarily done better. I know in the video game you have to keep things going really fast paced. Yeah. Give me the next run and gun section. And the TV show has that added benefit. And people would complain, too, if we just steamrolled right through, Joel's death. But yet somehow I don't think it's done better. They've changed some things. Namely, a lot of stuff changed with Tommy that I don't like at all. And we'll get into that discussion. So I was surprised, however, that episode 3 doesn't have a bunch of flashbacks with Joel in it. No, Pedro's still in the show. Joe's still in the show. I think that's going to be later, yeah. Don't worry, they stayed away from that because, they want the death to resonate, and I'm sure it's coming next episode. Yeah. Right? It's a 3-month time jump. And we get a little bit about the next phase where Ellie goes on her mission to find the killers and bring them to justice, bring Abby to justice, bring Abby's group to justice. And we run into a little bit of the war between the Scars and the WLF, Western Liberation Front, or the Wolves. And, So that's about all. What did you guys think of this episode? Was it entertaining? Did it drop off? What do you think?
I thought it was okay. It's fine. I still don't like Bella. I thought she was kind of start having a little turn. Maybe it's a little too soon, but right now she's still kind of annoying to me. I'm not liking her character, and right. I don't know. I just wasn't feeling this episode as much.
Yeah, I think it's an episode that's necessary, and I think from a writing standpoint, like you mentioned, like you can't do everything one-to-one with a video game. You have to adapt things, but I think you also have to make sure when you're doing a weekly drop of an episode. I mean, this was a pretty big drop-off as far as like things happening. So while there's times where I do appreciate some things, I think that they... people gave a lot of criticisms to episode 3 last season because it was kind of off from what like the main storyline was. But I gave it a 10 out of 10 because it was just a beautiful fucking story. Like I loved it, and it was emotionally hard hitting, and it was great. This was kind of a little. We're still more on the main storyline because we're now Ellie is our everything, and we're following Ellie's journey. I just didn't. There was no like impact scenes for me. There was no impact anything. So it was just kind of an episode that happened. And I think I'm more disappointed with how they're releasing it week after week, because if I could just turn on another episode afterwards, I don't think I'd have much of a problem with it.
Yeah, give us 3-episode chunks at least.
Exactly. And I think that this period along with another episode, I would have liked it significantly more. It's just like, wait, I waited a week for this, and now this is what I have to kind of sit here. So it was all right, but I just... Yeah. I can't, but someone like, this is a great episode. It's like, I just in no way do I see that.
Yeah, the scenes.
Apparently, IGN thinks it's a great episode.
I don't give
they
a fuck
rated it higher than episode 2,
yeah.
which blows my mind.
No,
I don't understand.
I don't see that because again, like you were saying, like some of the emotional scenes with Bella is like not believable. Like,
I'm not feeling them.
It didn't hit.
I'm like, please stop.
Mm-hmm. It's
like, there is a moment that sort of mirrors the father-daughter relationship between some of these scars. This little girl asks for a hammer. She's like, well, can it be protected? We get the whistling from the video games, that kind of, every time you hear the whistling in the video games, you're like, ah, shit, duck, because these guys are coming in, they're annoying, and they can fucking fire arrows at you almost stealth-like. And so that's this faction. However, it's surprising what happens to the faction by the end, and honestly kind of deflates their threat. And so I'm wondering if they're going to ramp that threat up, or all of a sudden the Scars are going to kind of be weaklings compared to the video games, because I was actually more worried about Scars than the WLF in the video games. But here it seems like WLF is a real threat. But maybe they're just building both sides of the war, because eventually I think we're going to have some characters come from the Scars. So they try to soften it, I guess. I don't know. But, yeah, I agree with you guys. I just think that this is less entertaining. I'm worried about Bella carrying the show. I don't like the 3-month time jump. I think that Ellie would be raring to go like the video game. I think she would convince Tommy right away, let's get out there and get it. The fact that Tommy goes nowhere is a change from the video games. Assumedly, I don't know if in the next few episodes Tommy decides to go on a fucking rampage and kills a bunch of WLF and tries to find the people responsible, or if they completely cut that out of the show. I'm going to be fucking pissed and make Tommy like this passive guy who's basically kind of shitting on his brother in this episode. He has a line that I didn't like at all. And I think that this is, again, Neil Druckmann trying to tell everybody that Joel was wrong and Joel's a bad guy, and you should, he represents a negative side of Ellie and some of the decisions that he's made in support of a storyline that's revenge is never satisfying.
I guess since he wasn't there, they kind of told him, because he didn't see it happen and everything like the game. Now it's just like, the Joe I know wouldn't have done this, and probably that same line I'm thinking about.
Oh, I see, and yeah, I see what you're saying, where it's like this Tommy, since he didn't see his brother murdered, he doesn't have that same drive. It's like, I'm getting all of these people because I recognize who they are, and I'm going after them.
Guilt, yeah.
I don't like it. I think it's a less good version of what we had before.
Yeah, he's seeing what's going on with the town. Everyone's rebuilding. Everyone's doing that. So what's in front of him is what he's focusing on now, as opposed to the video game.
So if this is more of what we're going to get, I guess it's fine television, but it just loses a little bit of the specialness, and I'm not really that compelled to continue watching. So whether we do episode 4 or wait for 4, 5, 6. Well, actually, there's only 7 episodes, right? I think. I'm going to look that up. But let's go ahead and give ratings for episode 3.
Go ahead, Alex.
I'm gonna give this one a 6, and this is on the HBO television scale. The comparing between across things is ridiculous. But it's I think that for The Last of Us, this wasn't a bad episode. There's not any parts where I'm cringing away or I hated anything. It's a necessary episode because we're doing all the things that kind of drive the story forward. They just did it in a way that I thought was not only a little less entertaining than I know that they've been capable of telling other stories, and it's definitely less exciting. So I'm hoping this next one is bigger and better, and things can happen. We just watch a lot of television shows where nothing but talking happens in an episode, and I'm sitting at the edge of my seat engrossed by everything that's happening. I just did not see that here. But Dina's still great.
Yeah. She's the only one. I agree with the 6. I'm going to go with the 6 as well. I don't see how IGN gave this one a higher
than episode 2.
That is ridiculous. Again, I don't need action scenes. I just need the actors to do a great job. Nick Offerman did a great job on the other one. This one, besides the girlfriend, nobody else really did a good performance. I didn't believe anyone. The emotions weren't there. I'm just along for the ride. I'm like, okay, well, let's just move this along. I don't care.
The emotions are not there. Okay. So I'm also at a 6 out of 10. So we have parity across the board. 6 out of 10 for this. The next 2 episodes are written. So far, Craig Mazin has wrote all these particular episodes that we've seen so far in season 2. The last 2 episodes, however, Neil Druckmann and Haley Gross take over with a little bit of support from Craig. So we're going to see in the last 2 episodes why Neil needed to directly step in. And in fact, episode 6, Neil directs himself. So he's taking the director's chair for one of the episodes based on his video game, taking an active role.
And there's only 6 episodes?
7.
7.
Oh, okay.
So the last 2 is kind of like his baby. So we'll see how that works out.
So the next one is still Craig.
The next 2 are still Craig.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, so 6 out of 10. I mean, it's about as well as I'm really surprised they didn't start baiting with Pedro Pascal flashbacks in this one already. But so I'll give you a little bit of credit there. But still, we're setting up the battle between. The next conflict between the Scars, this religious crazy group, and the WLF, this paramilitary force that eventually Abby's group is associated with, and eventually, we come to blows with. So let's jump into the actual episode breakdown and figure out why it wasn't working quite as well. Hello, welcome to the episode breakdown. So, one change I did like is, Tommy's scene with Joel, at his dead body. He feels like he has to be the one that, brings him in and cleans the body and takes some of the personal items like the watch. So that was well done. You've got good music here. Ellie wakes up screaming, and I think there was behind the scenes in the video game that there's something similar to this that happens in the game, but it was cut. It makes sense, and to see it's heartbreaking. You see it on her face. It's pretty heartbreaking, and after those 2 scenes, Ellie's fallout and Tommy's fallout, we go 3 months later, and Ellie is upbeat and having a good time, and she's basically trying to get out of being monitored. She's making it all up. She's lying to everybody and to herself that she's okay. And and I'm like, well, there's somebody here to visit, and I'm like, I know who's gonna visit. I don't even need to be told. I know who's walking through that door. Here comes the therapist. I was like, God damn it, I can predict all this shit. And she basically is testing to see whether Ellie is good enough to go back on patrol and integrate and all that other stuff. And Ellie lies to her, but you could tell the therapist doesn't really buy it. Next, Ellie visits the home.
Well, he tells her, he's like, well, he felt bad. He said, he saved me. He's like, well, he saved me multiple times.
Yeah, she's digging. Mm-hmm. She's digging for what Joel meant in there, and Ellie's not gonna give that up. I'm curious if the therapist eventually does find out, but at this point, how would she? That would have to be a Dina thing. It would have to be finding the wounds on her, or I don't know. We'll figure it out. But Ellie visits the Joel's home, just like the video games. People have been putting out flowers and stuff because he was important in the community. And she has the scene where she smells Joel's clothes and she cries. So another impactful moment, but for me, it's just not.
Yeah, that's the scene I was talking about. It wasn't.
It's not there, and I don't know. It's probably a combination of everything. It's a combination of Bella Ramsey's acting, a combination that we've seen it already, we've experienced it
done better
years ago, and done better. So all those things together kind of combine. It's, I'm sure Bella's doing her best job, and it's a little unfair, but it just doesn't hit. At least for me. Alex, were you emotional?
No. And look, I've done all that stuff before, where you have to go and you put the stuff away, and it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And so, like, from that standpoint, like, I completely and totally understand. But as a watcher, as sitting in the audience, it's like, what is this? Like, we've seen things out of Craig and everyone involved that I just thought was better. I don't know. I feel like they dropped the ball.
Dina tells Ellie at the dinner table after Ellie explores the house a little bit, has her moment, that she knows the attackers. She has their faces in her mind, and she's kind of
Names,
remember the
everything.
details. And she's pissed. She brings cookies to help soften this blow. And, yeah. You could tell Ellie's pissed, but she holds it back because she likes Dina. And then she eats the cookies, and she's like, all right.
Well, Dina's right. And so it's like, it's easy. You know, it's like, yes, I would have done things differently, but you were right to hold me back from doing them because
You were in the
I
hospital.
would have made the dumbest decision.
And meanwhile, I think it was Jesse that visits Ellie, and as Ellie has a plan during one of these council meetings to bring up that she wants justice for Joel. Give me 16 of your best fighters. We're going to go and bring these people to justice. I like the number because it's like that's how it would be. It's more realistic. If there's 5 attackers, 6 attackers, you're going to bring 16. You know, it's not just, okay, I'm going to go with 1 or 2 people. And so, but she's asking for significant resources. And Jesse, I think, is sympathetic to the cause, but what do you think? It's not revealed in this episode. Do you think Jesse voted against Bella? Because she does say, do I have your support? And he's like, I'm not allowed to.
No, I mean, they didn't. I don't think they did a very good job presenting a case where it would make sense for them to go start a war between their faction and another faction.
But he does offer her a very helpful piece of advice, which is write your thoughts down.
Yeah.
You're too angry. I think that does help. Because if she came out angry, she probably wouldn't have even had 3 votes.
3 votes, yeah.
Because the vote fails, 8-3. But anyways, he tells her to write it down. And as they're at this meeting of the council, the boring dude with the fucking corn, and it's like, just shut up, man. We want
not what we're here for.
we want to get to the big vote that everybody knows
Before
about.
we get more turkeys.
Yeah, instead of chickens and the soil is this. Shut up. And finally, Ellie gives her speech, and it's a well thought out speech from an angry person wanting justice. But before Ellie actually gives her speech, we get a surprise. The angry bigot dude stands up, and he's fucking pissed. And he's on Ellie's side. He's like, we gotta go get these motherfuckers, and all you guys are weak, and you're victims, and you're crying. And then Ellie's kind of surprised at this guy. And, let's get what the show's doing. It's like, okay. And then the kind old man is like, nah, we should forgive. We're better than these people. Basically turn the other cheek. And then the pregnant lady's like, no, we shouldn't do it. So the show and the writers are implying, hey, Ellie, you're on the wrong side now. You're taking the wrong path. This isn't justice. This is revenge. And she even makes us say, this isn't revenge. It's not. I'm telling you, she's lying. She's lying to you. She's lying to herself. She's lying to everybody else. So they're really mad. They're really trying to depict the whole thing in this way. They have the vote. 8-3. It's a failure.
Mm-hmm. She doesn't care. She goes back home, starts packing. Here's a knock. It's like, oh, what are you doing? Nothing. Going to bed. It's his girlfriend coming in. It's like, oh, so I see you have all these guns. Do you have any medipack? No, nothing. So your plan is go kill Abby. That's a terrible plan.
Yeah, and they're not really framing Ellie as a smart person.
No.
Yeah.
I will accept your decision, even if you don't vote in my favor. She immediately does not accept the decision and starts planning to go out by herself. She is lucky that she has Dina because Dina has already done all the planning for her, and she aims to help her, which is nice and shows that
Better
Dina really does care about her.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, we get a Tommy and the therapist scene, another therapist scene, and basically he said something to the effect, this is the line I was talking about, Joe, that Joel was coming up with justifications and such. You think she learned it from him, the therapist says, and he says, he says, do you think she learned it from him? And the therapist says, no, essentially she was already like that.
Yeah, she said, nurture counts for
It's
this
all bullshit.
much.
He said, his brother Tommy says, Joel coming up with justifications and such, and all he was really doing was lashing out. I'm not really sure what you're talking about. What do you mean by lashing out? When Joel murdered a bunch of people that put Ellie in danger? What does he mean by this line? Joe's coming up with justifications and such. All he was really doing was lashing out.
More like life philosophy type thing, because Joel has a giant history of violence and doing all, even in his words, giant fucked up things for decades after his daughter died. And so he's using that anger.
And he says he would come up with justifications.
And then, because that's it's a human nature thing to do, where he'd go out and he'd say, oh, those people deserve to die because they jumped us on the road. It's like, yeah, well, you shot them all in the face. Like, maybe they weren't going to kill us. They were just going to rob us. And but he has a human thing he found a way to justify, and the therapist is like, that is exactly who Ellie is. And yes, he put this much into her because she said the nurture was only this much, but it's all nature. That's exactly who she is, and you can't unfuck someone who's been fucked, is ultimately what she said.
Yeah, because she's had like 2 kills before Joe. She was kind of talking about that earlier as well. It was like, that's kind of who she was as
Ellie's broken before Joel, and she'll be broken now that he's gone too.
And the mechanics of the scene is she's sitting on a lawn chair watching a little league game, and she comes up to her.
3 beers in.
Like, she's got season tickets to the Tigers, only the Tigers are little kids, and they're maybe better than the actual Tigers they played in before end times. I did like small touches that their beer cans are resealable. Clearly, it's somebody brewing it rather than using.
I'd be making so much beer, making all the money.
Well, then people would keep you alive in the apocalypse and be like, we need that guy. But yeah, so they have some beers, but they're pretty selfish and they drink them all. And moving on, Dina, like I said earlier, helps Ellie along with, surprisingly, the asshole dude. She's like, where are you getting all these supplies and all this extra stuff? And he shows up along with her at midnight to go off, and Ellie's like, I don't like you, but you're helping me. It's all done in the acting. He goes to shake her hand, and she does shake his hand. So what do you guys think of this?
He gave her hardtack, though. You don't like someone all that much. You give him a hardtack. That shit's gross. He said he gave him a big old bag of it.
But he also gave her a better rifle. Traded rifle. It's trade. So she doesn't feel like he's giving handouts. So they trade.
Yeah, it's fine. It was fine. Moment.
But you see what they're implying, right? That she's on the wrong path.
Oh.
And she's getting help from people.
Okay.
Well, I mean, that's what the whole game is, like, everyone's kind of on the wrong path. It's like everyone's kind of like, that's kind of the theme for everything. I think the problem I have with this scene is, like, I actually like the guy's acting. I like Dina's acting. I just don't get it back from Bella. And if the point is for her to be completely numb and emotionless, fine, but it's like, I didn't like her when she was kind of annoying.
Face not it's just not expressive.
Yeah,
that's an issue.
I don't know. It's like watching the fucking Lion King
no
movie.
Expression or extreme expression when she wakes up. She's screaming from joy. I'm like, stop.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
So then Ellie has some time to visit Joel's grave, and she had some coffee beans there. We get a little bit of the jingle from the song, so it's good.
That was a good scene.
Good scene.
Because I like coffee.
And then they go off and they do multiple vista shots, really long shots, establishing shots, setting up all of the landscapes that they're going through. And I'm like, man, can the horse really make it this far? Or you just got this many fucking miles and miles and miles and miles, and it looks all different, but really, I guess it's not that long of a journey. But it is shown that Dina is very helpful on the trip. She can almost predict when things are happening before they happen.
She's aware of what clouds are, and Ellie's like, what?
Looks like it's going to rain. And
you smell it.
How do you do that? Yeah. They do talk about Jesse here. In the show version, there's still some kind of, Dina's not just done with Jesse like in the game. She goes back to him. I guess had a relationship, had sex. I don't know.
She would have to, if they do the pregnant thing
keep
eventually.
Going. Yeah. So maybe that's the implication where that happens, where she's pregnant later on. Maybe that's the moment that happens. But they do from the video games, instead of having the girls kind of bonding, a scene of bonding in the gas station with a bunch of marijuana, they do a little bit here, and they're like, rate my kiss, and she says 6 out of 10, just like in the video game. And I was like, damn, that's harsh. You should be much happier with that Dina kissing you for 6 out of 10. Nah, but it's play back and forth,
Yeah.
and these two are developing the relationship. Meanwhile, they come upon the group, a dead fucking Scar group, and he was shot in the back. This dude was killed. Meanwhile, Dina disappears for half a second. She walks off into the forest, comes back, and throws up because she
Pregnant.
sees...
Because she's pregnant.
That too, actually.
No,
That too. If you
she
think
said
about
the
it,
stench, and what
it's
she
gonna.
saw
She's more
as well.
sensitive to it.
Yeah.
I fully believe that, and because then you have the daughter and the father that they showed previously, kind of happy though it's kind of weird because they butcher
Yeah, it's
their
like
faces.
I want to feel bad for them.
But y'all are
But it's like,
weirdos
y'all are
and
just
evil
a
in
crazy
the game,
cult.
at least. Yeah.
That's not very culturally relativistic of you guys, okay?
Yeah.
They can do what they want with their children.
And their faces.
Yes.
All right, and then but somebody killed them all, even the little girl, and that was a little harrowing to see that dead body.
One
there.
person standing in one spot with 9 different types of guns shooting because all of the brass is like in one little circle because it's, they're like, look how many different types there are. It's like, why was he standing just there?
That was stupid. Or why were multiple people with multiple guns firing at point blank range to drop the shells right there at each other?
It's fine.
It was Naked Gun, yeah. What else? So the WLF is shown to have APCs, Humvees, multiple soldiers,
Yeah, but
lots of muscle.
Yeah, before that, they're like, oh, well, it doesn't seem like there's a lot. It's like, yep, it's going to be a lot less of them than they show their force. I'm like, it's not going to be easy.
Oh, is that what they were implying? I thought they were talking about the scars. So the scars
No.
have been cut down a little bit. And they're like, oh, maybe they've traded, and they traded casualties. So there'll be less of both of these factions. And then they show up, and there's not less. We get some teaser drops of Curtis and Viper. This was the movie that Ellie was going to watch with Joel. Now they don't have the opportunity to do that. So it's sad. And, yeah. What did you guys, any other thoughts on this stuff?
No. No. I mean, I'm curious to see if they keep everything exactly the same as, like, well, I know they haven't, but, like, similar in the game where you have, like, Mel going on patrols and stuff, but...
I hope Tommy does eventually go out and kill some of the WLF, but I don't know if he's going to or if they're just going to completely change Tommy
He's going to need some reinforcements.
Pacifist. Yeah. And this is really stupid of Ellie and Dina. They're walking into Seattle. You get a really good, CGI shot of the Seattle city and a bunch of broken cars, and that was impressive. But you got to realize there's some trap. You're either going to step on some fungus, which is going to bring everybody towards you. If this was real life, I'd be looking at the fucking ground every fucking step. Just
That's
to
another
see.
thing that I was kind of worried about. It's like, are we done with the zombies?
We might be because remember the second game is
Yeah.
a lot of
this
the
is like,
WLF, a lot of the scars. Yeah,
What-
they got to do eventually the hospital scene where Ellie is taking on basically a boss creature. So we'll see if that happens. Maybe they're limited to little boss encounters. I don't know. Maybe maybe they'll do the WLF gets fucked up by the zombies and that cuts their numbers down.
yeah, because I want to see some more.
More zombies?
Yeah.
But one
got
of the
a lot.
guys, I think it was Manny or something, is he's on binoculars, and I'm like, man, these motherfuckers could be in any of these goddamn windows
Yep.
in an urban environment. You just get sniped immediately. There's nothing you could do. So it's like, damn, you're lucky this is a fictional thing because you walking
Like,
into
what do
a
you
city
see?
like
It's like,
that.
I see 2 girls on a horse. Shoot them. All right.
Yeah,
Done.
they're done.
Well, they're fired.
Oh, those are the ones that are coming for revenge. I'm gonna just shoot them. Yeah.
Yeah, especially with Manny, because he's got the scope. He's like, oh, I recognize those two.
Yeah, they're dead because I know what they're here for.
Yep.
We'll see. We'll see how this goes. But I guess why we're so ho-hum is got me concerned. Got me concerned for the rest of the series.
Yeah. We've been dreading it. Now it's here.
The only other thing that I, got pulled from it is when Abby was saying, we're with this group and we don't kill those who cannot defend themselves. She's so self-righteous. She was full of fucking shit. And it's shown here that Abby is full of shit. The group that she with does kill people that cannot defend
They had
themselves. They'll
hammers?
kill little children. Yeah, but throwing a hammer on the child's body, or, oh, she's got a hammer, she's coming straight at us. Just pumping her full of lead. And they make it a point to show that they were brutalizing.
It wasn't
these
Abby.
stars.
It wasn't Abby.
Yeah.
She might have been with that
It
patrol.
wasn't Abby. Abby wasn't there.
All right. Anyways, well, then she has an idealistic version of what the WLF is, and maybe she does realize and will realize that in the future and go off on her own, and that's when we get The Last of Us Part 3 that Neil Druckmann said, well, he don't want to do. And he might be right about that, because I don't think that there's any point in mining this any further, because nobody's interested.
No, we're going to space.
What? It's either a peanut allergy that
No,
kills off Ellie.
we're in space now. You saw the thing. We're going to space.
Okay, we're going to space. All right, guys. Well, thank y'all very much for that one. Let's see what any hints on what is next.
The Encounter Wolf.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Abby is going to steal some burritos.
And start getting buffer. I don't believe it.
No, that's not going to happen.
No, they already threw that out the window, Joe. I don't even have an episode title, so I can't make any speculation. And I'm not watching the after episodes on this one. I don't even care.
Watch it either.
As I usually watch those when I'm excited about series, and then there's a podcast that goes into it more. I'm not watching that. So that's kind of where we're at right now.
Not good.
Are y'all at the same spot that we are? Kind of
we'll
ho-hum
see.
about the whole thing? Let us know in the comments down below. Do you think it'll get better? Do you think they know that, okay, we really got to capture their attention? So do you think they'll ramp up those infected and the boss battles and the gunfights between these factions? That's the way to keep people going. We'll see. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next Angry Joe Show. Bye, guys.